Hello, my name is Jim Escott. I'm with the Michigan State Knights of Columbus. I'm the state training director, and this workshop is for program directors for councils on how to run successful programs. You might also want to pass this on to your community directors, faith directors, family directors, and life directors. They also could learn some things from this, but let's go ahead and get started. The things that we're going to cover here is going to give you a quick overview. We're going to talk about faith in action, which is really our model for all of the programs for the Knights of Columbus. We're going to cover forms and what you need to do from a forms perspective. You may or may not, as program director, need to do these, but they do need to be turned in, and you'll need to provide quite a lot of the information. So I thought I'd go through that as well. What are the youth protection training requirements for program directors, community directors, and family directors. And then we're also going to cover resources on where you can find a bunch of information. So from a basics perspective, we're going to cover your roles and responsibilities. We're going to go through all these things on future pages, so I won't reiterate all of this now. Roles and responsibilities. Your job as the program director is to make sure your programs for your council are successful. You don't have to run them all, you don't have to do them all, but you need to make sure that whoever does them successfully. So plan and supervise all of the programs, assign leaders for each one. So as I said, you don't have to do them all yourselves, but maybe your community directors will do some, your family directors will do a few. You might even have someone that's not a director run a particular program, and just give them whatever help they need and make sure that they're successful. Make sure that your programs for your council are balanced and effective. What I mean by that is that they serve the interests of all the members, that they're the right ones in the right categories at the right time. You're servicing your parish, your pastor's happy with it, your members are interested and happy, and those sorts of things. And then follow the motto of the Knights of Columbus, Viva Jesus, live Jesus. If your programs show that the Knights of Columbus are living Jesus in their actions and the things that they're doing, they're going to motivate other people to join. It's going to foster a positive attitude for all, and they're going to be very successful. So how do you decide what to do and what not to do? Look at the programs that you did last year and stop the following. Stop the ones that were unsuccessful. You didn't get enough volunteers, or they didn't go well, the pastor wasn't happy, whatever reason. If you've got programs you're doing that just aren't being done well and you can't fix it, go ahead and stop them. Stop the ones that have a lack of volunteers. Those are the ones where apparently they're not interesting to your council. So if they're not what the people want to do, don't do them. And then also stop any programs that compete with your parish. We're supposed to be there to help our parish and complement our parish. And if they're having some kind of a free throw contest for the youth, and you have one as well, you're stealing people away from theirs. And so please make sure you're not competing against your parish, but working with your parish to do certain things. If you've got one that competes, stop what you're doing and then have all those resources help the parish with the one that they're doing. It still counts as a program. And if somebody else is leading it, that's fine too. Just be involved and participate and help out. So what are the ones that you need to be starting or keeping? The Faith in Action programs that is our new model should be things that you should either start or keep doing. Make sure you're doing things that are of interest to your council, and anything that's interests of your pastor and or parish should be started or kept. And then also look at programs that will attract new members. Again, I think look at your community and your parish, see what sorts of activities are going on there that may be of interest to people, and start those kind of programs so that you can do some additional recruiting. So what are the basic steps to run a successful program? It's really pretty easy. First of all, you can't have one if you don't have somebody to lead it. So find yourself a volunteer who's going to run the program for you. As I said, you don't have to do it yourself, so get somebody. get the pastor or the parish's permission to do it, because if you're using the parish resources, the gymnasium or some other place there, or if it's on site, if you need anything from the parish, make sure you get their permission to use their resources. And then make sure you have a plan of what you're going to do. Lay it all out. Who's going to do what day are you going to have it? What resources do you need? All those sorts of things. Advertise. Make sure it's in the parish bulletin. Make sure you send out emails to your councils. Put it on Facebook, whatever means that you have. You won't get people to attend if you don't advertise. And the better you advertise, the more people you have attend, and the more successful it is. Then go ahead and execute it. Make sure that you're running the program, you follow your plan, and also work with your membership director to make sure that at every event that you have, every program you run, your membership director has at least one, if not 2 or 3 people whose job function is not necessarily to help with the program, but to be there and work the room to find people who are not yet knights who might be interested and do some recruiting at your events. At the end of the event, when you're done, recognize people, thank them for helping out, thank people for the work that they did, and we'll talk more about recognition later. And then also when you're done, evaluate the program. It's very important, really more for next time than for this time, but what went well? What are the things that you did that you want to make sure that you do again next time you do this program? And what are the things that didn't go very well that you want to do differently next time? And if you lay all that out and document it, then when you try to do this program again next year, it'll go much better than it did this year. Okay, a lot of councils are having problems getting people to volunteer to help at events. So here's just a quick overview of some ways to attract and get more volunteers. First of all, make sure the program that you're doing is interesting to your council, because if it's something they don't want to do, they're not going to be raising their hands to volunteer. So that's pretty key. Awareness. This gets back into advertising. Make sure people are aware of the program. Put it in the bulletin. Send out emails to your council. Just make sure that they're aware and invite people to attend. Have a sign-up list there. A lot of people use Sign Up Genius or some other automated tool to do this. At meetings, have sign-up sheets that go around for people to sign up. Send out emails to your council asking them to sign up. I think that's always a good thing to do as well. So have lots of different ways for people to sign up, and then ask people to bring a friend. So if you get 5 people from your council that volunteer, ask each of them to bring a friend. It basically doubles the number of people you have to volunteer for this event, and you go right immediately from 5 to 10. Someone can bring their wife, they can bring their son, their father, their aunt or uncle, their daughter. They can bring any family member. They can bring a neighbor. They can bring somebody else who's not a knight that might be interested in becoming a knight. So have people who are volunteering bring someone with them to help run the activity. And then I'd ask all inactive members as well. Now, you don't want to ask every inactive member for every event every month, but what you should do is have a list of who are the inactive members of your council. And then for every program, you just pick 5 and make a phone call and say, hey, we've got this activity or a couple activities coming up next month. We need a couple extra volunteers. Would you mind coming and helping me with this particular one or one of these? And don't make a big deal about it. Don't pressure them, but at least make the phone call and ask. And if they say yes, then great, you've got them active. And if they say no, say, okay, well, thanks anyway, and we'll catch you next time. And then the next month, you call a different 5 people. And the month after that, you call a different 5 people. But you're kind of working your way through your inactive list to over time, everybody should be called at least once a year, if not 2 or 3 times a year, and invited to participate in the program that you're doing. It helps to get some of those inactive people more active. And then spend some time to train your volunteers. Sometimes people don't raise their hands because they don't know how to do whatever it is that they're being asked to do. So if you if you go up to somebody and say, hey, could you help me at the pancake breakfast making a sausage? I'll be there. I'll show you how to do it, and we'll kind of get started. Show them what you want them to do, how to use the equipment in the kitchen. And if they got it, back off so you're not overmanaging them, but help them show what success is and how to do the job. And then once they're comfortable, you can kind of turn them loose and let them do their job. And then, of course, always try to thank them at the end. But if someone doesn't know what it is you want them to do or how to do it, they're going to be very hesitant to raise their hand and try to volunteer. So take the time to work with people to show them what it is that you need them to do. And then last but not least, enthusiasm is always an important thing. If a program has got a lot of enthusiasm and positive excitement, it's going to be a lot easier to get people to join. I've seen way too many councils where the program director gets up and says, hey, we're doing, I keep picking on pancake breakfasts, but just my example here. We're doing a pancake breakfast on Sunday. I don't have enough volunteers. If I can't get more people to volunteer, we're going to stop this next year. And I'm sick and tired of doing it myself. And if you come off negative, of course, people aren't going to volunteer. So you got to have a positive spin to it and show some excitement and joy. And, instead of talking about, the negative side of it, you can talk about, yeah, I've been doing the pancake breakfast for years and it's a lot of fun. And the guys that are doing it always seem to have a lot of camaraderie, and we'd like to get a few more people to see how much fun we're having and participate. So come on over and join up and help us out. So, okay, ties to membership. We've already covered some of this, but people need a sense of fulfillment. And if they see the Knights doing a program and they see how exciting it is and how much it helps the church or the community, they're going to say, wow, the Knights are doing cool things and I'd like to be involved and I'd like to do that. So it's a way for them to fulfill that need and get involved. And then these next two bullets, kind of go hand in hand. The better programs you have, the more that's going to attract new members, and the more members you have, the more that's going to give you the opportunity to do more programs. So those two things kind of feed off each other. Both ways. It can be positive that you've got good programs that'll attract new members and you'll continue to grow. The opposite happens when you have bad programs. It not only doesn't attract new people, but it turns off the current members and then your membership starts to decline. So keep both of those going in a positive way. And then for new members and really for all members, you should have a list of what each member's program interests are, and then get them engaged in the activities that they are of interest to. So if you've got a program like a pancake breakfast and who likes to do those sorts of things, who likes to cook, those are the sorts of people that you'll ask to try to get engaged, not necessarily the ones that don't even know how to pick up a spatula. So there's ties to retention as well. Programs are very important from a retention perspective because if you take a look at the difference between active members and inactive members, active members participate in programs because they interest them. And people are inactive when they have minimal or no interest in a particular program. Why should I be involved in a program that I don't like doing? I don't like passing out Tootsie Rolls because it's cold that day and I don't like to be outside in the cold. So, you got to find other activities for them. People are active because of friendship and they get to camaraderie and fraternalism and those sorts of things are very big. But people become inactive or are inactive when they don't know anybody and they don't have any friends and nobody invites them. So it is a friendship sort of thing. So if you've got people who are new or don't know too many people and haven't been involved in a while, make a friend of them, and then invite them to work with you and get them to know some more people and try to do what you can to expand their friendships within the council, and then they'll be more involved. People are active because they feel valued. People are inactive because they don't feel that they're needed. So I think it's important to take people, call them up and say, this is an important activity. I could really use you to help out with this thing. And then when they volunteer and when they're active, even if it's just the first time, thank them afterwards, because it shows that you recognize their contribution, and you felt that their contribution was valuable. And the more you express that to them, the more they'll feel valued themselves. People are active because it helps them feel fulfilled, and they're inactive because they're empty. So help make sure that the programs come off positive for them, so that they feel they did something worthwhile and they feel valued and fulfilled. It's really easy for people to be active when they're self-motivated, but there's a number of council members that aren't quite so self-motivated. They're a little more shy and introverted, and those are the sorts of people that need some encouragement. So that's why you need to reach out to them, or have a friend call them up and have them work with them, and see what you can do to get some of these more introverted people, or maybe not so much self-motivated people to get engaged. And then once they get in there and they start having fun and they're doing good things, their inhibitions will go down and they'll be more involved next time. But you got to make those first few times very, very beneficial to them. It's also really easy for people to be active if they are attending meetings on a regular basis. But you also have a number of people that just, they love to help out with programs because they want to do good things, but they hate coming to meetings because they find the meetings boring, or meetings aren't really helping individuals and living the value of the Knights of Columbus. Meetings are just a necessary evil. So two things that I'd recommend there is if you think your meetings are maybe not as well run as they should be, find a constructive way, and I mean very constructive, to talk to your Grand Knight and give him some positive, constructive feedback on things he could do different to make the meetings more fun, make the meetings more informative from a communication perspective, and maybe not so boring and negative, because I think that would go a long way to getting more people to attend. And then also, for some of the people that just dislike coming to meetings, try to pair them up with somebody that does, so that and I actually am a fairly active member myself, and I have 3 or 4 guys that I know that hate coming to meetings, but I know what their interests are, and I know the things they like to do. So what I will do is after the meetings, I'll call them on a periodic basis and just say, hey, Joe, last year you helped me with the Tootsie Roll Drive, and it's coming up again in March. Can I put your name down? Will you help me with that one? And that's a way to kind of get them engaged and keep them engaged, even though they're not coming to the meetings. You can be a very successful Knight of Columbus by participating in programs and rarely or never coming to a meeting. So we just have to find a way to make that work for people, because we need to fulfill their needs, not the other way around. And then, of course, active people know what to do, and inactive people fear the unknown. This gets back into my point of training. So if someone doesn't know how to do something when it comes time to have a program, they're not going to raise their hand. They're not going to be involved. And then when they're not involved, they're going to start to fall away and be inactive. And then when they're inactive long enough, they're going to finally say, why am I a member and paying $40, $50 a year when I don't do anything? And they're going to quit and resign. So we got to find a way to turn that around. Okay, awards. We talked about this a little bit. Everybody needs to feel recognized. I know you're going to get quite a few nights that say, I don't do this for the personal recognition. I do this because I want to do this for my church, and I do it for my faith, and I do it for my Lord Jesus Christ. And I think that's right, and I think that's good, but people also, whether they are willing to say it or not, everybody wants to feel appreciated. So it's important when somebody volunteers for an event and they do it, that at the end of that event, you thank them and say, hey, the event went well. I really appreciate what you do. Thank you so much. And you can do that at both a team level, so you talk to everybody, or you can catch people individually one-on-one and recognize them. So there's both kinds of that. And then there's formal and informal. And informal is basically just catching somebody and verbally telling them either on the side or in front of the entire council that it went great and their participation was really appreciated. Or formal is more giving people awards, and that gets to the final bullet here. There's state awards like Star Council. There's Supreme Awards. There's Night of the Month and Family of the Month you can pass out to people for their help on certain programs. And then you can have your own council programs that have nothing to do with the state or Supreme, but feel free to have your own awards as well. But people need to feel appreciated. Make sure that they do. Now, I'm going to go through these kind of quickly because I'm going to show you the Supreme website and where to find all these. But these are the Faith in Action for the faith programs that are out there. And there's three kinds of programs. There's programs that are required, which means each year you must do these programs. And there's one in each of the four categories. Then there's featured programs. And what featured means is they count as 2 programs for the Columbian Award at the end of the year to earn that Columbian Award, and that also participates in helping with Star Council as well. And then there's just normal programs that count as one thing on your Star Council Award and Columbian Award. So this is what they are. Here's another 4, so there's 8 in each of these categories. Here's the family ones. The required program is Consecration to the Holy Family. Feature program is Food for Families. So here's the first 4. Here's the next 4. The community programs are here. Helping Hands is the required program, and the featured programs, there's really 3 in this category: Coast for Kids, Global Wheelchair Mission, and Habitat for Humanity. And then here's the other 4 in this category. And then here's the life programs. The Novena for Life is the required one. And this one also has 3 featured programs: the March for Life, Special Olympics, and ultrasound. And then here's the other 4 for that. And again, I'll take you to the Supreme website here in a bit, but I just want to kind of get us through here. So how do you get started? Get yourself educated. Go to the Supreme website, which we're going to do in a few moments, and read up on what those programs are, know what they are. Then go meet with your pastor. Take your grand night with you and say, hey, here's the programs we did last year. Here's some other ones that the Knights of Columbus could offer. What would you like us to do? And do you have any thoughts on ones you want us to add or stop doing, and get his input, because you want to make sure your programs complement and support the things that he wants the parish to do. Then plan your activities and then go do them. So it's pretty easy. So how do you decide what to do? You do the programs your pastor wants you to do. And then when you get a chance, weave in the Supreme programs where that's appropriate to get done. So before we move into forms, let me exit out of here. Let me stop sharing, share again, and we'll go to the internet. Make sure that you can see this here. Okay, so here's the internet. I'm going to go to the Knights of Columbus website, and it's www.kofc.org. Hopefully you know that already and you've been there. And here's the website. So where's all this faith in action stuff and the stuff that we do? And if you look at what we do, it will show you programs. You come down here and click on programs. And there's these 4 categories here of faith, family, community, and life. And if you look at each one of these, and let's take a look one at a time. Let's take a look at faith. it's going to bring this up, and it's going to show you the Spiritual Reflection Program and the Refund Support Program, RSVP, Building the Domestic Church. So it's got all of these things here, and you can click on for any of these, learn more, and it shows you a whole lot of information about what the purpose of it is, an overview, those sorts of things. So you can go there to see what the program is. And again, there's all these different areas for faith, family, community, and life. The other place to go to get even more detailed information is if you click on resources. And let's say click on faith. What it does, it comes down here and shows for Building a Domestic Church kiosk. Here's a guide sheet, an informational poster, books that you can order, just overall information about this particular program. So the guide sheet, as an example, just walks you through the same higher purpose and overview, but the chairman's roles, responsibilities, the action steps to take to complete this this activity. When you're doing program, how do you do this? And then what resources are available for you to use. So you can see all of this in this booklet. Trying to get back to the overview slide here. Give me just a minute. Sorry about this. Okay, so basically it's got all this detailed information on all the programs that are in the faith category. And if you go to family, it shows you the same sorts of things for family. So there's lots of documentation in each of these areas. Community, same thing. Guide sheets, brochures, press releases, all these other sorts of things. And then life is same sort of thing. Each one of these programs has all this detailed documentation here that's out here for you to get to. So again, the way to get here is you click on what we do, click on programs, and then from programs, you click on resources. And it brings up all these different areas for you to see all that information too. Now let's go into forms, and the faith and action forms, again, as long as I'm here, is on this slide. So if you click on here, it's going to show you the report forms, the Fraternal Programs report form. We're going to go through that one because that one's kind of key. But here's for Coats for Kids, Family of the Month, Bunch for Life. And then here's some other forms for Family of the Year, the ultrasound program, and whatever. So you'll see a lot of the Supreme forms at this particular place. And let me particularly show you the Fraternal Programs report forms. So for every program that you do, you should really have one of these filled out. And you can see I started to fill one out here from save this to your computer, but you put in your council number, what day the program started and ended. And I started filling this out for Family of the Year as an example. So for this one, you only do this once a year, but it's for the whole year. That's why I've got these dates in here the way it is. So you just click the box. How many people participated? How many members of the council? How many non-members of the council? If there's hours, how many hours did they spend? What was the cost for planning the program and the time spent to do that? Did you recruit members, yes or no? Is your council's safe environment program compliant? Talk to your Grand Knight to get that information. He's got that. And then how did you advertise this? Was it in the church bulletin? Was it in the parish newsletter? Did you make a pulpit announcement? Was there an email or a mailer that went out? Was there other advertisement that you did in the local newspaper or something like that that you would put in here? And then at the end, this is a good way to kind of help you see was Was it successful? Was it not successful? And then put some of your thoughts here on how well it went, summarize the volunteers and the way the program went. And this is also then good information if you've then saved this to next year when you're ready to do the same program. You pull this form up to see how it went last year, what went well, what did go well, how do you want to do things different the following year. And then, of course, here at the bottom, both the Grand Knight and yourself as program director should sign and date it, save it, and then send it into Supreme. So the ones that you complete each month, you should go ahead and print off and send into Supreme. And the ones that are still in process, you can leave open until it's done. So let me stop the share on this. Let me go back to my presentation and put this in presentation mode, and let's go forward. So forms. We talked already about the Fraternal Program Report form. I showed you that one on the Supreme website. So you need to fill one of those in for each of the programs that you're doing. The Columbian Award is this kind of a summary of all of the Fraternal Program Report forms you've done throughout the year. That's done once at the end of the year to be submitted no later than June, but I try to actually have it done in May. And you can even list the programs you're planning to do in June but haven't quite completed yet. But it focuses on it's a summary of all the faith, family, community, and life programs that you've got to do. And then the Fraternal Survey Activities Form 1728 is basically just that. It's due in January, and it lists how much time you spent doing charity work, how much money you donated to various charitable organizations. That's very important for the Knights of Columbus to roll that up from a Supreme level and submit that. It helps us keep our tax-exempt status as the Knights of Columbus. Here's this Fraternal Program Report form, which I already kind of walked through. So do one for each of your programs, submit it monthly, and save it for reference for your SB7. And also the information on here helps you to fill out your 1728 as well. Here's the Columbian Award application. And basically you can see that in each of the categories of faith, family, etc., there's 4 programs to put in here. So there's one line for each program. Make sure any of the programs that count as 2, you don't have to fill in all 4 of these 4, but also just make sure the mandatory programs are in here. In fact, I would put the mandatory programs in as the #1 program in each of the 4 areas, and then do the rest of them down below. So the featured ones count as 2, the required programs must be included. Here's what the annual survey of fraternal activities looks like. On the left side of the form is where you put in the faith, family, community, and life activities that you worked on. What were the charitable contributions? How many hours did you put in there? So those are all in here to list those things. Now, one thing you'll notice is it doesn't list every single faith activity and family activity, etc., on this form. And the reason is this is for community type service things. So some faith activities like a novena, you don't necessarily submit dollars to the community, and it's not a community related activity. So that's why some of those don't show up on here, but most of them do. And the right side is for your fraternal commitments of some non-program activities, council expenses, and those sorts of things. All right, now let's move into youth protection. Real quick, we're going to cover why is it important. This is kind of the who, what, when, where, how, why slides. So why is it important? Basically, the Knights of Columbus, we're here to help those who can't help themselves. So we're here for the widows and the orphans. We're also here for our children, especially those who are abused and need someone to protect them. So we are supposed to be there to protect our children. Who needs to be trained? In each council, there's 4 positions that must be trained. the Grand Night Program Director, Community Director, and Family Director. They all have to take 3 classes, the Meet Sam class, the Duty to Report class, and the Knights of Columbus Safe Environment Policies class. And then the Community Director and Family Director also have to have a background check done on them. So that is the total requirements of what needs to be done. If this is not completed, then your council is not youth protection compliant, and then you will not be eligible for the Programs Award, which is the Columbian Award, or Star Council. So what's the process? Well, the council needs to submit the Service Program Personnel Form, which is Form 365. Your Grand Night or your financial secretary should be doing that, so talk to them about it. And it's on that form that you list who your program director is, who your family director is, and who your community director is, because those are the 3 positions that need to be youth protection compliant. Supreme then notifies Presidium, who handles our training, and Presidium will then send out emails to the members to get their training done. So here's what this looks like, is this Service Program Personnel Report that your Grand Night or Financial Secretary does is on this page. There's really 2 different ways to submit this form. One is to fill out the PDF form, which is on the Supreme website, which is this blue one here. And the other one is to do it in member management, and it creates a report that looks like this. So the preference is to do the member management report, because if you do it this way, Supreme is notified immediately. And it also minimizes the chance of human errors, of things like if you fill out this blue report by hand, sometimes your handwriting's not well, so when it gets to Supreme, they can mistake an I for a 1, especially for the email addresses, and that's going to cause problems. Plus, sometimes these forms, when they get to Supreme, they print them out and put them on somebody's desk, and they're supposed to then, basically, they enter them in the member management, and they can get lost. They can key things in wrong, and all those sorts of things. So again, if you just do it right the first time in member management, it just makes that go much, much quicker and better. This form is due by August 1st every year. And so get those 3 positions named and get that report in. So once the report's in, it goes to Presidium. Presidium then turns around and sends an email to those 3 people. This is basically what the email looks like. It says it's from Armatus Support. It's got the member's name here. And the subject says Armatus Login. It says, thank you for contacting us. I have your login information below. To log in, you do these 4 steps. You go click on this link. You enter this username and password, and it's got a username and password for you here. Now, when you get this, the usernames are always your membership number followed by your last name. So membership number 1234567, last name, and it spells out your last name. It's all one thing. There's no spaces. It's all lowercase. And then the default password is always KOFCSAFE, KFC safe. And so that'll show up there. And you click on the orange login button. You'll see that on my next screen. And then on the next page, you scroll down and start taking the courses. Now, the other thing to keep in mind here is I've seen a lot of people have trouble with this and they get lost. But notice down here at the bottom, it gives you a name and a phone number for help. So if you're having trouble getting this email and logging in, look up this email, look at this telephone number, call this person up, and they'll help you with whatever issues and problems that you're having. So if you click on this link, it brings up this login screen. You put in your username and password here, and then you just click on this little login button. And once you do that, it comes up with this as the website. It shows you Carl Anderson's overall message. Here's the Meet Sam class, and over on the left side, it's going to show you a status of whether you've completed it or not. So if you think you're done, it's always good to check here to say, does this say complete, and does it have a date on which it was completed? Same thing here, does this say complete and a day on which it was completed? And same thing here for your 3rd class. So all 3 of the classes are listed here with a status. And then program directors and Grand Knights are the only ones that have this Armatus Administration. I'll show you that in a second. But this is a way you can see for your council and your members who has completed all their classes and who has not. The other thing to point out is above Carl Anderson's head here, there's a orange button that says certificate. And if you click on that, it's going to show you your certificate. Here's what the certificate looks like. And if you take this, it should show all 3 classes with the date down here. If your certificate doesn't show 3 classes and only shows 1 or 2, it means you're not done, that you have not taken all your classes. So get this, save a copy of your computer, and then email a copy of your certificate to your Grand Knight and your district deputy to prove that you're done. Armatus Administration, this is the thing that only Grand Knights and program directors have. If you click on this thing that says View Organizational Current Course Status, it's going to then show you a detailed report that shows you for yourself, your community director, and your family director. For each class, did they take it? Did they not take it? If they did take it, what date did they take it on? Is it completed? Is it not completed? And all that. So you've got a chance to see for you and your directors if they've completed their courses or not. Okay, resources, things for you to know. There's a Faith in Action manual on the Supreme website. This is the number, but it's a very good place to find out all the details about every single program. There's a leadership guide that's going to be passed out at the diocesan meetings in July. So talk to your Grand Knight about getting a copy of it. There should also be an electronic version. And if you get a copy of that, that'll be helpful. It's going to show you a lot of things in there about programs and how to do Faith in Action. Both the Supreme and state websites have lots of information there for you to look at and view. Council officers, both past and present Grand Knights and other people, they're all there to help you. So reach out to them. And if they don't know the answers, your district deputy should. So call your district deputy. And if he doesn't know the answers, he can direct you to different state personnel to help. Like there's a state faith director, and there's a state family director, and there's a state program director. And if you reach out to those people with questions that you need answers to or help, they're more than glad to help you out. So here's what we went through. We talked about the roles and responsibilities of being a program director. We covered Faith in Action in all these areas. We showed you what the Supreme programs were. We talked about the 3 key program-related forms that need to get filled out. We talked about youth protection compliance and resources where you go for help. So I hope that you found this valuable, and we look forward to seeing you at the Zoom meeting if you have any questions, to get those questions answered. Thank you very much.